Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing okay. Today I have a special guest. You guys have been asking a lot of questions on the different disciplines, and I have someone here who's going to talk about one of them today. So with me is Dr. Adeola Olubamiji. To me, she's a really big deal. So I'm happy I have her on my channel to come talk to you guys about biomedical engineering, the industry as a whole, and so many exciting things that she's working on with regards to STEM. We have a ton of questions we're going to go through, which you guys have been asking, which is obviously the purpose of this video. So I'm going to dive in immediately.
Okay.
So the first question, what drew you to biomedical engineering?
So after my bachelor's degree, which was in physics with electronics, I was thinking about, okay, if I want to go to grad school, what area of physics do I want to focus on? So I started doing my research, and I found out about medical physics. So when I went through the medical physics curriculum, I realized that for the school that I had chosen, for me to study medical physics, it has to be a major. So I have to take a degree in biomedical engineering with a major in medical physics. So that's how I stumbled on it. So I started reading more about this program, then I realized it had several branches. Biomaterials, telemedicine and e-health, bioinformatics, neuroengineering. Yeah. So depending on the area of sciences that you're engineering that you focused on, you can kind of branch into different areas of biomedical engineering. So my background in physics was pretty much what led me to biomedical engineering.
Oh, I see. Because biomedical, like we're talking about before, biomedical is fairly new.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing most people don't really know about it, right? So it's usually either your own your own personal research that leads you to that program, or you knew someone who did it.
Yes.
But did you know anyone who had done it before you?
No, I did not know anyone at all. Oh. So what I always ask myself, especially when I finish school, I ask myself several times is, okay, going into the future, what are the new technologies, what are the new career paths that are going to lead in the future? What are the, especially in my area of physics, what are the new career paths that are springing up or coming out of physics? So pretty much didn't know anyone, but when I read all the good stuff about using engineering to solve human-related problems and how biomedical could expose me to all of those different things, so I just decided to, risk it.
Yeah.
It was like risking it because not knowing anyone.
I know.
It was hard.
Can you give people a brief overview of what the discipline entails?
For me, what it entails is application of engineering to solve health-related problems. So there are different branches under biomedical engineering. Like I said before, medical physics, there's also medical devices and instrumentation. Yeah. There is neural engineering. There is biomaterials and biofabrication. There is tissue engineering. So, so many different areas, bioinformatics, biotechnology. So when you're thinking about engineering, then think about health. How can you apply your engineering to help solve any health-related problems? Biomechanics, so many of them. So I think that pretty much solves the problem. If you have studied engineering or if you've studied anything science and you are interested in helping us advance human body functionality or enhancing how people think, like genetic modification and stuff like that, biomedical engineering is your area. So the overact name that is being called is biomedical engineering, but there are so many pieces that are in there. So I cannot function as a bioinformatics person because I do not have a background in computer science and coding.
Oh, so there's different subsections into the whole.
Even if we're all called biomedical engineers, we'll have our different specializations and functions.
Yeah.
So I cannot function as someone who is in neural engineering right now because I didn't really know too much about genetics and gene modification and pretty much the brain and the spinal cord that much.
So those subsections, are you allowed to? Are there courses towards like the end of your undergrad that you can take
to understand
to kind of understand those sections, or is it when you go to masters and like higher education that you get into those?
I think when you're taking biomedical in undergrad, they kind of give you the overview of everything in it. They don't give you specific areas. They just let you know the different units that are in it. So when you get to maybe fourth year, you can decide, or third year, you can decide, I want a major based on what interests you. If you're a mechanical engineer or you like mechanical kind of thing, you can say, okay, I'm going to do biomechanics. If you're more on the, I like imaging, I like X-rays and stuff like that. You can say, oh, I'm going to do a major in medical physics. So
there's a variety of stuff to do.
There is.
Okay.
So people can, based on what interests you in your 3rd, 4th year in college, you can kind of just get a major. And then you can build on that in grad school.
What are the biggest misconceptions, if any, about biomedical engineering?
Oh my God, don't ask me this. There's so many misconceptions.
I used to think biomedical, I used to think it was like doctor related.
Yes.
When I first heard it.
Yes. So I remember when I started my career during my master's program. First of all, especially Black people, when they hear that you're studying biomedical engineering, they say, what are you going to do with that one? Where you graduate, who will hire you? Where you want to be a medical doctor? People didn't understand what it is.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether even they're Black, even white people, they'll look at you and say, what's that? Can you tell me about what you're doing?
Because there's a lot of confusion behind it.
It's very new and people don't really understand it.
So true.
So that's one. Number 2 is the fear of you may not get someone to hire you. So because people didn't know that there are so many areas, pharmaceuticals need us. So many, like I work in automotive right now, doing additive manufacturing. And how did I come about additive manufacturing? Biofabrication and tissue engineering led me to that, right? So there are so many companies and so many industries where we can work. But people, because they didn't really understand it, so they're oftentimes parents are afraid to let you go that route because they don't know
how you're going to apply it.
Yes, they'll be wondering how you would apply it and which industry would take you.
Yeah.
And number 3, because there's so many pieces to biomedical engineering and not all schools carry them. And not all, even our teachers know about them. So you can easily be misguided. Last misconception is that people always feel that if you don't have a PhD in biomedical engineering, you may not get a job. I've heard people say, oh, if you only have a bachelor's, getting a job is very hard and difficult and stuff like that. But it depends on which area of biomedical engineering did you focus on. Number 2, how deep were you when you were in school? Did you get the right skill sets? If you've done the BRS minimum, you didn't take the right electives, you didn't get yourself equipped with skill set. Whether you study biomedical or mechanical engineering, you're still going to struggle.
Yeah.
But people always believe anything bio, you need a PhD before you can really climb to the top of your career. And I do not believe that. I think you need the right skill set. A PhD will help you, but it's not a necessity.
It's not a need. It's not a must-have for you to succeed.
Yeah. Another misconception is because it has this bio in it. So people always believe that you have to have studied biology.
That's what I thought.
Or anatomy or physiology before you can really be a biomedical engineer. I studied physics with electronics. I had no anatomy and physiology background, but I wanted to use my physics to help advance human body functionality. So during my master's, the first 6 months, one of the courses I took was anatomy and physiology. I wanted to learn about the human body first before I can help to make it better, right? So you didn't need to have studied biology or some bio-related undergrad program if you want to do this in grad school.
So would you say there's a lot more physics-related courses for the undergrad than bio?
I would say that. I would say there's a lot of, it's just engineering with some bio. So you still take all your mathematics, all the engineering related courses. You still do all of those things. So it's an engineering, right? It's engineering. Do not ever lose that.
I had a friend too who was saying there's a lot more physics. He went into biomedical engineering. He didn't really know what he was getting himself into. And he was like, there's a lot more physics than I expected. Him thinking there was going to be a lot more biology than physics, he entered and there's a ton of physics.
Yes. The human body has so many physics and engineering that makes it actually function. So the physiology of the human body depends on engineering and physics. We are the people who figure out mechanotransduction, so many things about how the body functions and works and the physics behind those things.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but she has a very inspiring story. She is someone who has risen to where she is by her own willpower and her own strength and her own grit. So how would you say your tough upbringing propelled you to the success that you have now? Because I think you are successful.
Thank you. Well, I'm still climbing, by the way, but thank you for
also climbing, but I think you're doing pretty good.
Thank you. I think, my upbringing contributed a whole lot to who I am. Everything that I am right now. What always comes to my mind when I think about defeat is that if I fall, I'm going to the ground. Zero. I'm going back to where I came from. And I do not ever want to go back to where I came from. So my upbringing, those stories, those struggles, those hardship, lifestyles. I wouldn't say they haunt me, but remembering them, remembering who I am and where I came from, kind of motivate me to know fully well that my children will never go through that. And I would say that if I come back to this world, do I want to be a rich kid? No, I don't want to be a rich kid. I actually would love to go back to my upbringing. I would like to experience that. When I look at the work that we do at STEMHub Foundation, I feel like if I was doing this and I haven't gone through that, I may not really understand.
You may not be able to grasp the struggles of
and sometimes we go to community centers or we meet some kids or parents invite to come and talk to their son or daughter and they don't want to talk to me. They're very rude. And it reminds me of where I came from. I came from a slum. There are diverse kids in the slum. So I know how to handle them because I've been there, right?
Yeah.
So coming from there kind of give me a background about the different struggles that people go through and the different perspectives of life.
Yeah.
Well, you know, to a lot of people, they feel like, oh my God, that was a lot of struggle. But we also had fun. Let me tell you, slum kids, we didn't, you know, they didn't lock us up in our room. 5 people were in one room on the same bed. So we're very communal. We're very loving. We didn't have, we didn't have a box around us of don't come near me. And when you're friends with someone like me, I'm open. Because I never had to be sheltered. I was open all my life. So I'll tell you more things. I'll support you. Because I grew up in an environment where supporting one another was very important to us.
Supporting is very important.
If one
within every community.
For us, if one wins, all wins. I remember going to school and I had mothers from different families. This one will bring Gary. This one will bring salt. This one will give me 2,000. Because I was a community kid. I think I was raised beautifully. Even if it looked like we had hardship, we didn't have money. The beauty of that communal relationship, the beauty of building together, the beauty of living together and evolving together, sharing our pains, our successes and food and drinks together, it makes me this person. And it makes me feel responsible for a lot of people.
Yeah. So what industries can you find a biomedical engineer in, or what processes require them? I know we've talked about this.
So I would say an engineer is an engineer. A biomedical engineer can get a biomedical related job or something else. So I studied biomedical engineering. I didn't work as a biomedical engineer until date. When I chose my minor and my majors, they were core engineering stuff. We did core engineering work with application to medicine, right? So depending on what you want, you may decide to look for jobs in biomedical engineering industries such as medical devices, biotechnology companies, pharmaceuticals. You may decide to go that route. You may also decide that you want to focus on the core of your degree. So, for example, someone who studied medical physics under biomedical engineering, the core of their degree is physics. For someone who studied biomaterials, the core of their degree is material engineering. For someone who studied biomechanics, the core of their degree is mechanical engineering. You may decide that you want to focus on the strength of your core and go and get a job in the industry that are looking for people who have those core degrees. You can still use those opportunities. In my own case, I decided to use additive manufacturing, which is the material science and process engineering part of my degree. So my core of material science is what I've been using to work in the last 2.5 years.
Interesting.
And if I still ever want to go back to biomedical engineering, I can do that. I have 2 degrees in that. It's always going to be a part of my life, and I know it, right? So depending on what you want, depending on where you can get fulfilling career. So you can say, I want to be focusing on one industry, maybe biotechnology, and I want to utilize my skill set there, or I want to go to medical device, or I want to go to pharmaceutical. Or if you want to focus on core mechanical, core material science, you can go to automotive, you can go to aerospace, you can go to most of these companies that are doing pretty much manufacturing. It's up to you. Why biomedical is unique is the fact that it gives you the opportunity to be both. You don't just have to be a biomedical engineer who focus on biotechnology and all this bio. You could actually go and work on the other side of the fence. So it gives you multiple opportunities than just you studying mechanical engineering.
Interesting. So the next question, most people are unsure on whether or not they want to further their education after graduation. What advice can you give to people who are entertaining the idea of a master's and or a PhD?
So you have to have a reason why you want to do it. Don't do it because you feel like I want to do it for my parents.
That's what I say. That's what I always say.
Yes, don't do it for your parents. Do it for you. What's your reason? What's your why? I always say before you make a decision about going to grad school, you have to evaluate your undergrad. Have you utilized that undergrad at all? What did you get out of that? Did you work for a couple of years to see how that undergrad contributed to the industry? And you have looked about what is needed in that industry and feel like maybe if I go to grad school, I can try to work on this area. And this looks like a need in my industry. That's one. Number two, are you doing this because you want to advance your career? Are you doing this because you want to transition career? Some people do it because, okay, in my field, if I get a master's degree, I'll have a higher earning power. Or, my career path, I'm not really enjoying it that much. I just want to transition. Or some people feel like, yeah, I enjoy it, but I want to climb higher. So if I have a graduate degree, it would allow me to do that. And I've seen people who actually choose to go to grad school because they wanted to leave the country they live in and explore other culture while going to school. So what is your why?
That's another thing. I feel like a lot of people, they think it's a good idea to come out of undergrad and rush right back into masters.
Yeah, I would say to anyone considering that, the only way you should choose that as your option is if you have looked for a job for a year and a half, 18 months, and you can't find a job, and you're looking at that gap will speak against you in the labor market. I'd say go to grad school to cover up for that. But if you have an opportunity to get your foot in the door and go and work in the industry and utilize the degree you obtained, I'd say that is the better way to do it.
Gives you more leverage.
Yes, go first into the industry, understand what they need, understand how to actually put your degree to use.
Yeah.
Which part of your degree? Because when you get a bachelor's degree, it's a bunch of different things put together.
Yeah.
And which part of this degree is innovative? Which part of this degree is revolutionary? Which part of this degree is going to make contribution to the next 20 years of this entire industry? You wouldn't know that if you haven't really gone into the industry.
Yeah.
So I would always recommend going to get a job for at least 2 years, understanding that industry. Especially when you've gotten a bachelor's degree, you are no longer a kid. Adulthood has set in. Think about what you need in your own life. When do you want to get married?
How would this propel you?
Yes.
All the things you want to do.
Yes. And apart from that, when you want to start a family, what is your own aim? What is your own goal? What are your objectives? What makes you happy? Put you first. I'm not saying disobey your parents, but you can always have conversations with them.
Yeah, definitely.
So do it for you. You come first. You.
So we've talked before about your job search, how you got your first job here. And I think it's a very unique story. So I thought it was a very proactive approach to actually getting a job.
Yeah.
So how can people be more proactive about getting a job after school, since the engineering field is very competitive? Yeah.
So I would not go to after school. Let's start with while you're in school. So we have found out. I mean researchers, have found out that there is a disconnect between what is being taught in school and what you actually need in the industry to succeed.
Yeah.
So why is there a disconnect? A lot of the curriculums have been developed 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and the industry is rapidly evolving. They are needing new skill sets, they are needing new career, they are opening up new things. So you should ask yourself, am I taking just what is being carved out for me? Or am I going out of my way to take electives that will give me the right skill set that would help me get a job? That's number one. Number two is summertime. Instead of you to get internships, you would think you could go to Nigeria or Ghana to spend 3 months. When you finish that school, getting a job become very hard. So I would say, before you finish school, think about what is the roadmap for me to actually be an effective, a sought after, and an exceptional candidate when I'm looking for a job. And map those things out from your year 2. Take internships, take co-op, whatever it is that can help you kind of get to understand the industry. So let's say, for example, you took co-op or an internship in your year 2, right? So by the time you spend 3 months or 4 months in that company, you are exposed to the different things they need, right? So when you go back to school, you are going to look for courses that will give you those things.
And things will make more sense because you've been able to see the application.
Yes, that will give you those skill sets that the industry requires. So third year, when you go up to another place to do co-op, and I always say to people, don't keep going to the same company. Go to several companies for co-ops. Learn what that second company needs.
Most people find it harder, right? They want to just
don't
slide right
don't
back.
do that. Don't slide right back. Go to another company, learn what they need. Go back to your year 4. Go and get those skill sets in your resume. Now you have maybe 8 months of work experience, and you have skill sets that cover 2 industries or 2 companies.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for a job, you've opened up those opportunities by yourselves. Those 2 companies, if you were a good person, they'll be really happy
to have you back after. Yeah.
And now companies that look like them will also be happy to take you because you have the right skill set and the right experience.
Yeah.
For my master's, I took a major in medical physics and a minor in biomaterials. For my PhD, I took 2 majors, a major in engineering physics and a second major in material science with a specialization in additive. Why? I played it safe. So I expanded the kind of opportunities that I can really get. So with my medical physics, I can work as an NDT specialist, a non-destructive testing specialist, with just focus on X-ray and ultrasound. And then with my biomaterials and material science area, I can work as a material scientist, a metallurgist, and all that. And with my additive manufacturing area, I can work as a manufacturing engineer. So I can apply to multiple industries and make my resume such that they actually want me because I have those skill sets. Are you just streamlining your opportunity when you're in school to 1 major, no minor, just do it and go?
It's too competitive for you to play it safe.
Yeah, you gotta open up those opportunities for yourself. So when you're looking for a job, you can dive into multiple fields and kind of really be able to get something. So when it comes to after, don't even try to talk about after you finish your school. Do not finish the school before you start to look for a job. Before you start to look, 6 months before you graduate, you have to start looking for a job at that moment.
6 months.
Yes.
I started 6 months before and I still didn't get anything until after 6 months after the graduation.
Yes, so there's no rush.
Yeah.
Don't rush yourself and rush out into depression. Stay there, start looking for a job before you graduate.
Yeah.
So for looking for a job, I'll say have a schedule. It's very important to be able to count how many applications you've done. Say to yourself, every week, I want to apply to 40 jobs. And until you apply to 40 jobs, the week is not over. And say if it's 40, then divide it into the days that you want to really focus on job application and do that. Or I want to focus on 3 industries where my skill sets can actually fit in. Create 3 resumes and know that whenever I see a job related to this, I will send out my application. Do that. You have to be tactical and strategic. One thing that I did when I was in university was going to all those career fairs. Myself and my best friend, we will fly to the US to attend SWEET conference, lesbians conference, SHIP conference in America. The struggle was real. We went
from Canada to America.
Yes. We would fly to those places to look for a job. You think you can apply for a job on your laptop and you'll get it?
Oh, no. Not
the only way. You can go to those career fairs and when they see you, they can see the person. Is your easiest route to get a job.
Yeah.
So save up your money, go and join Society for Women Engineers, go and join National Society of Black Engineers, go and join
Ontario Society of Professional Engineers, all of them, the ones for your discipline in itself,
and the one for everybody. Go and join everything. Is for connecting to all these engineering societies and seeing what is out there.
Yeah.
We did, myself and my best friend, we did that multiple times and it paid off. So that's whether it was almost at the end of your degree or you just graduated from your degree. NSB is going to still happen this year. SUI is still going to happen this year. SHIP is still going to happen this year. Or Ontario Society of Professional Engineers, they'll still do conference this year. Go and find the right information to link you up to those things and line yourself up for those conferences like your life depends on it, because you know what? Your life actually does.
What's the point of doing all those 4 or 5 years and to come out and to be struggling?
Yeah.
It's super saturated. field is super saturated. You have to get ahead.
The most important one that I want you to never forget is that you have to make sure to get those skill sets before you finish school. Don't just come out with distinction and stuff like that. I want you, if you're an engineer, for example, mechanical engineer, can you use any CAD software? Do you know SolidWorks? Do you know Inventor? Do you know Creo? Do you know ANSYS? You need to know this.
I love that you're giving them all these tips and tricks.
Yeah, because those skill sets are key in mechanical engineering, for example. So you have to think about what industry are you in? What are the skill sets that are key to your own industry?
Yep.
Are they on your resume? And if they are on your resume, are they highlighted properly? So recruiters can see them when they're going through your resume. It takes 6 seconds for a recruiter to throw out your resume. In 6 seconds, will they know that you can use SolidWorks? Will they see that?
6 seconds.
In 6 seconds, you have to put them in places where they can see. Well, they know you have a PhD if you do have. In 6 seconds, you have to make sure you highlight your skill set so that they're visible. And first of all, get those skill sets, and then highlight them properly. Go and also at those conferences we talked about pray, and pray again, and talk to people. You have beliefs. Sometimes I feel like we're not
own circle.
Yeah, we're not leveraging on the people we know enough.
Yep.
You have friends who can write you references or who can be your reference. They can refer you for positions at their company, and you are not asking them. Go and have coffee with your own friend that you usually eat with. Call them for coffee meeting and let them know you are struggling and you need them to be your referral for this job that you saw at their workplace, or help you talk to their manager. Take this serious. Your network sometimes could open those doors for you if only you ask. Don't be shy. You're looking for a job, put it on social media. Whoever is following you that have opportunities, let them know you need help. A problem shared is half solved. Lastly, if you have mentors, leverage on the connections of your mentors. They have people, they have colleagues, they have friends, they have large circle of network. These people are already working. Leverage on what your mentor has to get you a job. It's hard, but it's doable.